they're looking. This is not the Max. Hold on. This is not the Max Kellerman that was talking about the Cavs 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, saying they don't champion, they won. All I'm trying to say is this: whether it's LeBron or anybody else, the Cavaliers are balling good enough where it should create some suspense as to whether or not they can win this series. I don't want you walking into the finals telling me, well, you know what, the Cavs don't really have a chance. And so, congratulations to LeBron and them for getting it. No, Cleveland is good enough to beat them.
Two unstoppable offenses, but Golden State also plays elite defense. Sorry.
I understand.
LeBron, 211 points shy of passing MJ for most points in postseason history. Don't worry, we have plenty more of LeBron on today's show, but we want you guys to get involved. Go on Twitter, vote on our poll. Here's the question. Is this the best he's ever played in his career? We'll share those results a little bit later in the show. But also last night, the Spurs evening up the series with the Rockets, but it was a costly win. Tony Parker was carried off the court with a leg injury in the fourth quarter and did not return during the game. He became the 9th player in NBA history to reach 4,000 career playoff points in MRI.
Career, and that's a very sad thing because he's a very underrated player, a 4-time champion, a Finals MVP, a guy who could do everything you want a point guard to do. Sure, he played for Popovich and that helped him and everything, but at a certain point, the coach you play for makes you a better player, just like you make them a better coach if you're really good. And Parker was, if this is it. Without him, look, with him, I thought San Antonio would advance. But you always have to give Houston a puncher's chance because of the number. They're just sending you subliminal like hell. That's all they're sending you, Stephen A. Subliminal messages. But listen, I know what you mean, but look, for years the Red Sox never beat the Yankees. It was still a rivalry, but okay, we can debate that another day. What defined the rivalry? The point is, these coaches go back, facing each other. And now D'Antoni, in his next shot at Popovich, is saying, I didn't go far enough shooting the threes. I need to be even more radical about that. And now D'Antoni's playing the style he really wants to play against the Popovich team, and he's got Popovich a little hurt now, minus Tony Parker. This is going to be a great series. The Spurs, unlike the Rockets, get 0 easy baskets. They get the threes, but they don't get the layups. This is going to be really tough for the Spurs. I still think they can do it, but if they're going to do it, it's a 7-game series. It's a toss-up.
Well, I think you got to keep in mind. I think you got to keep in mind you've got a guy in Patty Mills who's 28 years old. He's 6 years younger than a Tony Parker. Not nearly as much mileage on his body. Plus, he's a better perimeter shooter. The point guard that Tony Parker is.
Hearing for the defensive end who is charged with sexual battery and false imprisonment. Jackson is the second South Florida player to be charged with violent crimes in the past 2 months. Judge Taylor said she was ashamed to be an alumnus of the school and questioned whether Strong had control of his players. Charlie Strong responded in a statement saying this.
Charlie Strong. The problem with Charlie Strong is that he didn't win enough damn football games at Texas, which is why he's now at South Florida. It's certainly that he didn't care about character and he didn't care about a player's behavior. This is a direct assault on his character by a woman who happens to be a judge who clearly knows nothing about him, nothing about what he stands for. And she stepped over the line on this, and she needs to be called out about it. The nerve of her to say such a thing about Charlie Strong, the man in his program. Just because you graduated from South Florida, well, why ain't you held accountable then? You're an alumnus, right? You know, you contribute to the school, I assume. How come you're not held accountable for it? More so than a dude that just got there this past December. It's an atrocious dialogue or diatribe, rather, by her. And she should be ashamed of herself for jumping to that conclusion about Charlie Strong. He does not deserve that. That judge, Margaret Taylor, she's absolutely wrong. Absolutely. Imagine any child that comes in, any adult rather, young adult that comes into her court. What, it's the parents' fault? Because, excuse me, if you're going to hold a coach that just got there, a whole coach accountable that just got there in December, okay, about 4 months ago, what about the parent that raised
When we come back, Kobe Bryant is offering words of encouragement to one of the NBA's bright young stars, but is he the best person to be giving advice? Don't miss that discussion. And Robert Kraft comes to the defense of Tom Brady after Roger Goodell's 4-game ban of the Pats quarterback. Do not miss what Pats owner had to say about Deflategate, and Teddy Bruschi will be here to join that conversation.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, mommy workout.
Number 3 and number 4 in the latest ESPN.
I can't see. Can you let me know when 30
Go
happens?
head-to-head.
I can't see. Let me know when 30 happens.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
I see.
Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Presented by Firestone Tires.
Meanwhile, Isaiah Thomas has been getting into his muse cage thanks to Kobe Bean Bryant. IT reached out to Kobe after the Celtics fell into an 0-2 hole.
The exact situation he's in, I think Allen Iverson would be an even better choice than Kobe. And if you say, well, Iverson never won a championship, I'll give you another undersized point guard, ball-dominant point guard, who led his team to a championship. How about Isaiah Thomas?
Name is Akeem, and he's managed by my boy Charlie Mack, okay? Doing a great job with him. And he had a line in there when they had a battle. He said, there's a rumble in the jungle, all eyes on me. I ain't Floyd, but I'm on the money team. I'm a star. And I was thinking of you what he sees instinctually. Floyd, you know better than me. Instincts are out of this world. Isaiah Thomas, leader. But when you talk about Kobe, you got all of that stuff, plus a dude that's stepping back, dissecting film, looking at the opponent. Game of basketball because of individuals' lack of understanding. I'm sure you've seen a couple of those videos, Max. The point that I'm trying to make to you is that Kobe loves this stuff. MJ is like, MJ's the kind of person that'll keep it to himself. He'll try to teach you some things, but at the same time, it's like he'll keep stuff to himself. Kobe's not like that. Kobe's like, I'm done with basketball. I can tell you everything now. MJ's not like that. He's a busy man.
You're talking about Isaiah in terms of also his point guard skills, because he has to figure out how to use the guys around him. Obviously, you know, you've already conceded. In terms of going to the basket, attacking, he doesn't need any help with that. In terms of his competitive ability, that's the kind of player he is. But he's also undersized for Kobe, third best pick.
Two things, Molly. I want to applaud Max Kellerman because he actually sounded relatively decent on that basketball matter. I'm very, very proud of you. And what I heard from you there, I like that. That's number one. And number two, I appreciate you ending the segment by acknowledging you agree with me. It's such a beautiful thing to see. You're getting there, Max. You're getting there.
How can you not say
I
Kobe's
agree
great
with you
for
that
advice?
he's third, not fourth.
Guys, he went on to ball. They have a 2-0 lead right after talking to Kobe. It looks
By the greatest quarterback.
At a business summit in New York on Tuesday, Patriots owner Robert Kraft said the Patriots' comeback win over the Falcons in Super Bowl 51 was the sweetest of New England's 5 championships. Why? Let's just say it had a little something to do with deflated footballs, and Kraft didn't hold back on his feelings, saying, I don't hold grudges, but I also don't forget anything. Envy and jealousy are incurable diseases, so our competitors, I understand, have they brought pressure on the league office to be very strong and lobbied not to...
Goodell, and especially the fans of the New England Patriots, it'll just always be there.
Well, let me say this.
But that's in their mind, Teddy. Teddy, they're conjuring that. But that's not what happened. What happened was there was an investigation, and then obviously the Patriots didn't like what was going on. They got into a power struggle and lost. It's not the whole league being envy.
Max, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about the existence. You're talking about the existence of an investigation. That is not what Robert Kraft was alluding to. What Robert Kraft was alluding to was the fact that it didn't go away when he expected it to go away. After accepting the $1 million fine, the forfeiture of draft picks. In other words, what he's saying is, it was the belief that had he accepted that penalty, which is something, I'm not saying anything he hasn't said publicly. His belief was once you accept the penalty, the $1 million fine, the forfeiture of the draft picks, that Roger Goodell would take that, it would be enough, and we would move on. What happened is that Roger Goodell, even in the aftermath of that, still pressed Brady and Mr. Kraft.
Rolling based on jealousy and, basically dislike for the New England Patriots. I think there's some of that in there also.
Look, there's no question. Anyone who says the Patriots, this Patriots team or franchise over the last 15 years, isn't the greatest dynasty of all time in the NFL. I know apologies to the Steelers and the Green Bay Packers and others, but given the parity in the league, etc., that's insane. Of course they are. By so much. It's amazing what Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and guys like you, Teddy Bruschi, and others have done. No question, absolutely that's true. But if you're caught cheating, whether or not you think eventually it's cheating, if it looks suspicious, and there's an investigation and things come out that you don't like, and maybe still it persists after you think it's over, that's the way it goes. That's not envy. That's because they were caught with the playing football. That's what that is.
The fact.
For Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, and Dez Bryant took 3 of the top 4 spots on the list. Oh, and Tony Romo got 15th. Max, with the Cowboys dominating jersey sales, are they still America's team?
Yes, and really what this shows more than anything is that once upon a time, Tex Schramm, like a real snake oil salesman, hoodwinked this country into thinking they're America's team. He came up with this idea, we're going to be America's team. And people bought it. It's unbelievable. They're not in the biggest market, or even one of the biggest markets, really, when you think of the size of the Dallas market compared to others. They haven't been the most successful in terms of Super Bowl wins or championships, anything like that. They haven't been great in a really long time, but because once upon a time, a brilliant PR guy, essentially, came up with an ingenious marketing ploy, and people bought into it, they are, in fact, by the numbers, amazingly, America's team. Shouldn't be that way, Stephen, but it is. And when they're actually good, and have actually really good players, look out. And that's what they are right now.
Well, you can say that. Listen, here's the bottom line. Tex Schramm got him on television and allowed them to play on Thanksgiving. It was something he pushed for, obviously. They were nationally televised on